So what are the transform tools? When you're working with a photograph, you can make your photograph smaller. We generally don't make photographs larger because they are pixel based, and which I'll talk about more at the end of this video. Unless you're doing something creative, of course. But so if you want to make your photograph a little bit smaller, you can use the transform tools. In this case, I have a full-size photograph, so I wouldn't be able to transform it unless I unlock the layer. So click that little lock on your layer over here, and now I can go ahead and transform it. The bounding box, once you hit that unlock it, it's already ready to transform by making it smaller, and you can see that it has the blue bounding box here. If I hold down the shift key and then click and drag, I can maintain the aspect ratio of my photograph. So if I didn't hold down the shift key, what could happen is things can get a little wonky. So it ends up changing the aspect ratio, and then it can shrink or expand your image. And if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But if you want to keep your image the same aspect ratio, you need to hold down the shift key. You can also rotate your image. So I'm actually going to make this just a little bit smaller so you can see better. So when I hover around the corner of the image, there's a double-sided arrow that appears, and then if I click and drag, now I can rotate my image however I want to. Okay, there's a little check mark up here. So whenever you're using the transform tools and you're ready to be done with transforming, you need to click this little check mark. I sometimes call it the check mark of death because Photoshop will not let you do anything else until you click that check mark. Okay, so you can also hit enter on the keyboard to get rid of the check mark. So your transform tools are also located on the menu bar. So under edit, so you can go down to transform, so you can go to scale, so that makes it larger or smaller. You could rotate it. You can also, I don't really play with these too much, but this will be fun, more creative things to do. Go ahead and experiment with that if you want. You can also rotate 180, rotate 90 degrees clockwise, counterclockwise. You can flip your image horizontally if you want to, so I'll show you what that looks like. You can also flip it vertically. I don't know if there's a shortcut for these. It would be nice if there was. Okay, it doesn't look like it. So if I wanted to flip it vertical, here we go. So if you, for whatever reason, if you want your object to be on the other side of the image, you can do that. Okay, I'm going to stomp down on the Control Z key a couple of times to get it back to where it was. So those are the transform tools in rotating and flipping images horizontally. Talked about resizing your images already. So just get that blue bounding box, hold down the shift key, and then click and drag. Okay, so if I were bringing in other images and I wanted this to be smaller, maybe I was making a collage, this is a great way to do that really quickly. So I hit the enter key to get rid of the check mark. But if you wanted to crop an image, let's just say you didn't want all this green area on the side here, there's a crop tool over here. So on the toolbar, and it looks like two geometric lines crossing each other. So that's the crop tool. So basically what that does is it kind of cuts off part of your image. So let's just say you wanted this to be, you can also change the aspect ratio. So if you wanted something square, you could really easily do that. So crop tool will cut off part of your image. Transform just makes your image smaller, but leaves the artboard the same size. Okay, so hitting Control Z again. So we're going to talk a little bit about pixels and resolution. If you go up to image on the menu bar and you go to image size, this will tell you how many, it tells you right here what the resolution is, so pixels per inch. So that means in every inch of this photo, there is 240 pixels. So photographs are made up of pixels, which are tiny little dots of color. Also, some other good information to know is the size and the width and the height right here. being measured in inches. You can certainly change the pixels per inch here if you wanted to. So if you were uploading this to the web and you just needed a smaller file size, you can just type in 72. So 72 is a standard for web viewing. Keeps your loading time nice and fast, so you can hit OK. And then it does, resize your image a little bit, it looks like. I'm just going to zoom in here for you. So pixels per inch, so now I've changed the resolution to have 72 pixels in each inch of this photograph. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in quite a bit for you. So I'm just stomping down on the Control and the plus key. And so here you can start to see all those little pixels. So each of these little squares is a pixel. And I have zoomed in to 128,000%. So you can see those little pixels. And I zoom out, you can still see them. So have you ever heard the term that a photo looks pixelated? That means basically the photo it didn't have enough pixels in each inch of the photo to print properly. Generally with web viewing, you can get away with, again, much smaller pixels per inch, but for printing, the standard is, I think the minimum is probably around 240, but some people will say 300. Either is fine, whatever your preference. So more pixels per inch really would be a better print, but you can usually get away with 240. So anyhow, that is it for transforming, rotating, and pixels per inch. See you next time.